Making this live very non-discreet because I'm not sure I necessarily am. I want to talk about narcissism, so to speak, but I mean, I'm open to it. Depends on my mood. I want to keep things light, not light, but like flexible, right? Maybe I'm trying to like get it up my computer so I actually know what's going on. Okay, there we go. You can probably see the chat now. Thank God. Like, don't get me wrong. If people ask about narcissism and shit, I'll still answer. But like, I don't want to limit it. I need more freedom. I feel like I've been so limited by. Hello, Christine. I feel like I've been so limited by narcissism. I have so much information to offer people, so much wisdom. I'm a genius, damn it. I can offer so much to the world. Not just narcissism stuff, but mainly narcissism stuff, just because like I'm kind of an expert on that. Hello, Judy. How's it going? I dislike the term. Hello, Leah. Happy Sunday for sure. I do dislike the term expert just because it's such an arbitrary term. It's like you don't get a degree in being an expert, right? Hell, having a bachelor's degree wouldn't even make you an expert, not in my mind. Hello, Alistair, and everyone's infatuated with me. Hi, Brian. How's it going? But yeah, like the term expert seems so arbitrary to me. It's like who determines whether or not somebody's an expert? Because I feel like declaring yourself an expert is something that kind of delegitimizes being an expert, right? It's like I don't think I would trust anybody to reliably rate whether or not they're an expert or not. But on the other hand, I wouldn't say a common consensus of people would determine somebody to be an expert. Like for example, I don't know, a lot of people consider Dr. Romney an expert, and you might have your own opinions on that. That's fine. However, like her expertise is not in narcissism; it is in the treatment of mental health issues in patients with AIDS. So it's like, who makes that call, right? If you with confidence, Lord, they will believe you. Oh, hell yeah, they will. My gosh. Uh, Hello, Sandra. Like people who say, trust me, and yeah, right? Trust me on this one. I mean, I say that sometimes, but then I also have research. It's a little bit different. I don't know. It's a lot. And I would consider like Mark Edenson expert and Ruth Ann Harper, Wendy T. Berry, uh, Otto Kernberg. Like I can think of a lot of people I would consider experts. But again, like that's so subjective. Most of these people, compared to Otto Kernberg, is like objectively not a. Hey Layla, what's going on? Yeah, I'm not on fire being eaten by an alligator, surprisingly. Not like last week. Ugh. But hello Valentine. I hear total statements such as everyone's infatuated with me as casually relativistic slang, not as literal total statements. Yeah, and it's so weird because I'll make comments like that, right? I have it's like everybody hates me. It'll be these sweeping statements that are rather grandiose. Maybe not grandiose, but and people say that's black and white thinking, and I'm like, no, I'm being hyperbolic. Like, what do you mean? I never viewed that as like black and white thinking. I can see how in my mind it would kind of lead to black and white thinking, but I just never really saw it as that. Alligator's quite tasty. Have I had alligator or crocodile? I don't remember which one I had. I had one of them. I didn't like it. It was like chicken with the texture of calamari. I don't like calamari. I've never had calamari. I don't know why I can but I know what the texture is. I'm not sure how. Probably people I was with. About testing your commitment. I love the rationalizations that people who have been educated by universities make to justify the universities. Because by God, what a worthless institution, university. If it's used right, it can be useful. It's just rare. Like, I it's proving that you can do it. It's like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. You're saying I should spend like a couple tens of thousands of dollars studying things that either I don't need or I could learn on my own, purely to prove that I just can. And that proves I can be a good worker. The best workers I know have never been in university. Hello, Toxic Queen. What's going on? Like, it's funny. I guarantee, I have never, like, I will give very fair criticisms about the university system and potential, like, proposals of things that would potentially be a better option than university. And the people who have gone through the system, they will pull anything out of their ass in order to justify why universities should exist. And not to say they shouldn't exist, more to say that how they operate now is fundamentally flawed and not as helpful as independent research sometimes. No, I don't engage with any of that alpha man, masculine stuff. Not at all. I never have, really. It never appealed to me. I always found it kind of cringe. I was always just kind of like, I was comfortable enough, like, I don't know, I don't, like, base a lot of my identity off of my being masculine or feminine or whatever. I isolate myself from others when I am in a shame spiral or feel very vulnerable. Like, if I'm in a particularly shameful moment, I'll go out to, I'll be afraid of leaving my house because I don't want my neighbors to judge me. Thank you, MCMJ. Jay was an alpha. It makes sense. You find it cringe. That's fine. I'm so alpha. I found being alpha cringe. I love it. That's funny. No, I've never like. I gotta stop. I don't want to talk about Andrew Tate too much, but like that kind of, again, that worldview, viewing the world through this lens of masculinity and gender identity, never has made sense to me. I don't respect it. It doesn't make sense to me. If you base your entire identity off of being an alpha male, like, I feel like you need to have some self-reflection in terms of what your values are. If Andrew Tate was truly masculine, they wouldn't have to lash out at others. Exactly. It's like genuine pride as opposed to grandiosity, right? I always say that grandiosity is a shield against insecurity. Comparing yourself to others in order to overcompensate for the self-hate. I feel like that's like the Andrew Tate crowd's kind of in a similar kind of thing. Like, you know, Andrew Tate's not the topic for today. They call me Devil Moore. But what was I saying? But yeah, like it's a similar thing. If you have to basically have your entire self-worth based off of being an alpha male and sleeping with women, which I'm doubtful that he even does, like, I feel like there needs to be some reassessments going on. And also, I feel like even the concept of an alpha male is like, I don't find, okay, so like, let's say that the concept of an alpha male is legitimate, which I don't really believe, but let's say it is. Like, there's generally domineering men who tend to dominate the people around them and are generally charismatic and confident, right? That's not an inherently good thing, even compared to other people. It can be desirable in a lot of cases, sure, but it's not like, I don't get why it's like paraded around as like sainthood. I don't know. I'm just saying shit out of my ass because I'm just thinking out loud right now. Because I am in a space where I'm like, I don't know if I even want, like, I'm like, man, I talk about narcissism all the time. Like, I have a lot of things I think about and I think are interesting. And I like just kind of having just like my ideas challenged and thinking about things in general. And I think I'm going to lean more towards that today. I mean, people can still ask a question about narcissism, obviously, that I'll answer, but I'm only more philosophical today, I suppose. Oh my gosh. I'm like thinking about value systems now. I'm like, my brain's all over the place. God damn it, you guys are driving me up the wall. Nobody's saying anything, so I don't know what to go off of and bounce off of. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, like, I just, like, I am I'll be honest, like I need a break from talking about narcissism to some degree. Like just like how much of my time is dedicated to thinking about it. It just feels so just. It feels like I just like I'll go on TikTok live and it feels like I'm answering the same questions over and over and over and over again. Ugh, it's exhausting. I want to look at more nuanced things, and it's like fine, I understand it, right? Not everybody does the degree of research that I do or has a personal experience that I do. Obviously, they're going to have some very natural questions. But it's like, why can't I have like an FQA? Just like I should make like a video like that. FQA. I will refer you to this video if you ask a question on this list. Basically, I could like link it in my lives and or my videos and stuff like that. Be like, hey, if you ask a question, don't ask it. That's interesting. Somebody just said that. Huh, that's interesting. Somebody just said that Layla, how is YouTube being dumb? I'm intrigued. He said that I assume that means you guys can't send messages or something. Did I mention Andrew Tate and like it got like shut down? That'd be hilarious. Now I'm curious what's going on. I see hearts going, so there's some kind of interaction happening. Okay, so you guys are talking to me, but let's see. Let's pull up Discord. It's all being all error. That's so weird. Oh, there we go. Welcome back, Layla. That was so bizarre. That was so weird. Hello, people that I have been able to interact with because YouTube is being strange. I don't know who Holden Caulfield is, and now I have to look him up because I am obsessed with what people view me as. The main character in Catcher in the Rye. I never of all the classic books, I've actually never read Catcher in the Rye, which is insane. Okay, so welcome everybody. That was weird. What happened? Did it give any sort of indication of what was going on? Hello, Yeehaw. What's going on? To service not available. That was bizarre. I was like just like sitting here being like, wow, there's like 40 people here and nobody is saying anything. Like, what is going on? How's someone actually find a therapist who specializes in personality disorders? Okay, so me and Tess are actually working on this right now because we know that that's like an issue of finding people who actually specialize in personality disorders. We're trying to find like a list of reference because basically the best thing that you can do right now is kind of find an expert and see if you can get a referral. It's usually the best case situation, which sucks. I think Mark Edenson might have some. I think like Heal MPD, if you know who that is. I think on his website he has like a place where you can like request referral. Like he has a waiting list that goes like everywhere. But yeah, me and Tess are trying to find like a list of resources of like clinicians to reach out to if you have a personality disorder, because you know you can't find it. I wonder if based on how the chat's acting now, I wonder if okay, never mind. Okay, I was like, now I'm going to be like so focused on like whether or not the chat is performing the way it should be or not. Like, cause like even my therapist, I have a good therapist and she specializes in trauma, mainly. But I would not recommend her for somebody with a personality disorder just because it's not her wheelhouse, and I don't know anybody around me that does. I'm a little narc, but when I did steroids and amphetamines and acted grandiose, I attracted multiple girls. Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, compose. Hot.
Hey, Yeehaw. No, I would never block you, Yeehaw. Don't be crazy.
Hello, Valentine. Yeah.
Yeah, being in a mood staring at a wall, that's a fucking mood. That's a mood. I'll literally like just play music and just like do this, just like staring at the ceiling and just like thinking about shit. It's like, wow, everyone hates me. Thank you, late captain. That's funny.
Your therapist
Fired you lately? My gosh, that's sad.
I do think I do a hard fact.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everybody wants it. Everyone's scared of personality disorders nowadays. If you're not a fucking expert in it.
I think I'm an ENTP.
ENTP/ENTJ. That being said, I'm not a fan of the Myers Briggs. It's like the astrology of psychology, in my opinion.
That's interesting.
A lot of therapists are encouraged not to specialize in personality disorders because their burnout rates are so high. That's very interesting. I mean, like, I know I've heard some anecdotal stories about like people being like, "Oh, do you want to run a good practice? Don't take borderline patients or some shit like that, or cluster Bs," which is kind of fucked up.
Yes, I'm diagnosed
This is a real narcissist.
like
I mean, and I do. It's but in fairness, if they don't specialize in personality disorders, I'd prefer them rejecting personality disordered patients anyways. You're so sorry. You have nothing to be sorry about. You're fine.
I'm curious to hear about more.
Mesh man. I hear people lose themselves to a dominant partner, but I don't get it. I don't either. If I'm being honest. So
like me
personally, I've heard this all the time over the years about how like I center myself in people's lives and like they feel like they lose themselves in me, or like that I like take up like the majority of like their being, whatever. And I don't get it. I really don't. Like I understand. Like I don't get how somebody can lose themselves in somebody. I don't understand it.
As opposed to being diagnosed as
Fake narcissist. I'm diagnosed with fake narcissism. He did. He had you on his stream. That's funny. Do you miss
anyone? I miss a lot of people.
people, honestly. They will never know that though, ever. How's your life? Are you doing okay? I am. Complicated question. I would say I am doing okay. I would say my life is generally bad though. It has its ups and downs. I would say I don't live a very happy life though.
My current therapist acknowledges
My personality disorder gets a typo, but that's it. No, nothing else said about it. That's interesting. What like so they don't talk about like the symptomology of schizotypal at all to you? See, I've noticed that therapists like to avoid tying things directly to the diagnosis a lot of the times.
What's your take on covert narcissism?
Narcissism? Well, I mean, I have a pretty. So it gets complicated because here's the thing: there is covert narcissism and overt narcissism. Covert refers to symptoms that are not openly shown. And then overt refers to symptoms that are shown just openly. Right? Grandiose narcissism obviously the domineering types, and then covert narcissism being the self-deprecating, secret grandiosity types. So people will present with overt grandiosity or overt vulnerability, etc., etc. I think narcissists fluctuate between the two depending on the self-esteem regulation that they're getting and other factors in their life. Start looking at yourself as a borderline. Why did I do that?
Why would you re-idealize
An ex? I don't know. It just kind of happens. Like, I'll break up with somebody and I'll be like, oh, that would have been the. It's like, oh, wait, that was my soulmate. I messed up. Oh my god. And like, I idealize them purely on the basis of I can't have them. I think that's kind of part of it. It's really weird. I literally was on Reddit and I advised some guy. I was like, hey, listen, like, he went through a similar thing. I was like, hey, don't go back to that girl. As soon as you have her again, you're going to de-idealize her.
Can codependency look like
Covert narcissism? I mean, possibly. I can't. I'm not the kind of guy that depends on partners for my self-esteem regulation, but I guess it could look like that potentially, or at least have some distinct similarities in it if you relied almost purely on your romantic partner for your self-esteem regulation.
Do you ever really miss somebody that
You discard in the most disgusting way. Find the most disgusting, but yeah, generally yes. Again, they'll never know that though. I'll never tell them or give any indication of that fact.
What if it wasn't a personality?
Sort of, what if you were highly empathic and highly hurt since childhood, so you built a war, fight the pain within and projected outside of you? Isn't that what a personality disorder kind of is? I think that would just kind of describe a personality disorder. Now you're aware that you have this, are you trying to learn all you can so you can try to overcome it, or are you happy with being one? It's a little bit more complicated than that. So, on one hand, okay, so yes, overtly, yes, I am I am trying my best to try to overcome a lot of the behaviors that I have and the kind of internal state that I have. There's a lot of things about this disorder I hate. All of it I hate, more or less. Not all of it, but there's a lot of it that I do. I mean, the emotional dysregulation, the dependency on people for self-esteem regulation, the mood liability, the anger, the substance abuse, the anxiety, depression, whatever. That all sucks. I hate it. However, I wouldn't say that I necessarily hate being a narcissist. Because, well, one, it's all I know. I can't compare it to the experience of an actual person, and that feels scary to do so. And there is a little bit of a part of me that's like, well, being a narcissist is like part of my identity, and it makes me special, I guess. Like, not actually, but like, you know what I mean. There is a comforting factor in having an identity like that and having people around me that share that. So it's a mixed bag. I'm not happy being a narcissist, but I'm comfortable with it nowadays, I would say.
The wedding was fun.
Yeah. Seth got married for all those that know Seth and don't know that he got married. I was the best man by default. It was awesome.
I've been obsessed with a narcissist.
I rejected because I felt he did not secure me enough. It can't torture. I feel the real obsession came after I rejected him weirdly. Yeah, honestly, similar for me a lot of the times. My speech, yeah, I would. Oh my god, I completely ad-libbed my speech for the wedding. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to say, and I just kind of walked up and just started talking, and it was received well, but I'm like, man, if I prepared that, it would have been awesome.
Judy wanting to
change admitting that I miss somebody, not being able to admit that I miss somebody? Good question. I'm not sure. Because on one hand, it feels pathetic to admit to somebody that I have missed them. And so in that regard, I'm not really, I don't want to change that. I want that, that like, it feels very contradictory because I want some of these people back in my life, but I don't want to admit that because that's pathetic. And those are constantly at the, at odds with each other. Wait, is Ange here? What?
thoughts about superficial
Charm and success. I would say superficial charm is a very positive trait to have. However, it's not the only trait that leads into success. Not to mention that superficial charm isn't necessarily like superficial charm is not you. If superficial charm is a symptom of a personality disorder, the other factors in that personality disorder are by far going to not make the superficial charm not worth having. If that makes sense. If you just have superficial charm and you're like normal otherwise, then you got a good thing going for you. What does happy mean? I'm trying to figure that out, my dude. Thank you, Rick. I can't pronounce your name. I'm just going to call you R. But thank you. I'm glad it helps. Fuck, I'm getting behind on comments. I'm just going. Oh shit, lost my place. God damn it.
All right, I'm just going to
Stay with the chat now. Chat. I just I'm just going to follow the chat now. Let's see.
To my knowledge, Susie,
I am only I'm a narcissist with ADHD and PTSD.
do you enjoy doing
Meditation or yoga as common therapy practice? I find it boring. I can't. I can't do therapy. I can't do meditation, and that honestly might just kind of be my ADHD. I just can't sit still like that. It bothers me. I would say like meditating in the shower. I would say, well, I think about a lot of stuff in the shower. I spend hours in the shower. Oh my god. Like, literally, I think the only times that I feel any sort of contentment is when I'm in the shower, if I'm being honest.
Do you think the push-pull dynamic
is inherent in all people in relationships? To some degrees. I think that with people with NPD and BPD, it takes on a much more sinister and kind of like exaggerated role. But I do think to some degree it's in all relationships. Is meditating the same thing as zoning out? I meditate all day long, if so. I'm always trying to figure that out. I think there's a difference there. I mean, because it's like, I just think it, I think about things, but I don't think that's true. I think everyone has a personality disorder. I agree, kind of. So, okay, so, Kirk Honda, I think, put it in a really good way, where he said that he has never met somebody that's not on a personality disorder spectrum. And I think that's 100% true. Where everybody is going to kind of be wired, and I kind of view personality disorders like, imagine you have a bunch of scales, 10 scales for each personality disorder, let's say. And everyone's going to be on one of those scales to a certain degree. But it only becomes a actual problem when that scale is off the charts to the point that's ruining your life, and that's when it would be considered personality disorder. But yeah, I think everyone does have pathological thought patterns to some degree. Being in the moment. I never really understood that, being in the moment. I don't want to get it.
There's a lot of talk about
removing labels in next DSM. I mean, they did it for the ICM. Was it the IC? Is it the ICM? I think it's the ICM. Or ICD? ICD 11. Yeah, they removed all labels for personality disorders and just just clumped it into personality disorder, and then you can have a borderline pattern to that personality disorder. I hate that, actually, if I'm being honest. I think that they made a grave mistake in that way.
Because it's like
It's just, what the fuck? There we go. The finisher is correcting that. There is issues with the insurance companies and their influence on the DSM. But like, okay, because I'm sorry, like, I will never relate to somebody who is a schizoid. And we both, but under the ICD, we both have the same disorder. I'll never relate to somebody that is OCPD, but we would have the same disorder. The classifications of personality disorders, while flawed, there are patterns there that are statistically validated and anecdotally validated, and for clinicians' experience. And I think it's doing it such a disjustice to try to melt it down like that. It's like you can't treat somebody with a schizoid personality disorder the same way you treat a narcissist. It just doesn't work.
Have you ever cried over someone else's
Is lost now. That's wild to me. The idea of doing that, if I'm being honest.
I think for DSM,
DSM would just be each symptom where you fall on that spectrum, no personality disorder label. I mean, it depends if they're following how the ICD did it. I'm not sure exactly. And Christine, is that so bad that I do want to say special? Well, no, because it's like, is it the ICS? What the fuck? I'm looking it up.
yeah, okay, ICD.
I was correct. International Classifications of Diseases. Anyways,
What was I saying then?
I don't remember. Something about label. But no, it's like having that label and being able to relate to other people was like one of the most refreshing moments of my life. Like it changed. Meeting Tess has changed my life. Being able to know that, oh wow, I'm not the only person that I know that experiences this. Like I thought I was just going to go my entire life just being the fucking freak running around destroying shit. What do you think of AI and the Industrial Revolution? Like, are you referring to AI causing a new industrial revolution, or are you asking separately if what my opinions are on AI and the prior industrial revolution? It's very, very different questions, either.
I think remove the stigma.
Then let's relabel them, in my opinion. What do you study or what do you do for work if that's too personal? It's not that it's too personal, it's too embarrassing because I came from I've had some very like well-respected careers in my past and I don't nowadays, and I just hate talking about it so much.
AI, new wave that's
coming. I think that the explosion of AI is very interesting, and I think it has a lot of potential. I think that we're still pretty far away from AI being able to do anything substantial to our current way of life.
How can narcissists even
Have an ITR? What is an ITR?
How do you feel somebody close to you
Told you that he or she was suicidal. I'd be stressed because I wouldn't want them to die because then I'd miss them. But like, I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't like feel much. Long-term relationship.
So,
I guess the question kind of confuses me. Love bombing in the last few months. So just because the love bombing ends doesn't mean that like those feelings necessarily go away. I think a big portion of it is that people perceive the love bombing to go away because they see a lot more of the emotional dysregulation than a narcissist has. For example, if I'm only talking to you like once or twice a week, you're not going to see like that I'm like a crazy person for the most part because I mask, as do all narcissists. Then you're around me all the time and you're going to see like my mood swings and shit.
Narcissists always been around. Why
I
do
do
you
think people are now talking about it and impact on people. I have okay. So I was talking to Seth, and he wants me to do a video on this because he thinks it'd be like the origin of the sensationalism of narcissism. Personally, what I think it is that it has origins in the sexual psychopath narrative during the '60s, when like serial killers first started to become like a social, like a media phenomena. A big thing was like, oh, like sex and psychopaths. That's actually why you get sex offender notifications, is because during that time they basically assumed all serial killers were also sex offenders, which I think is very interesting. And my reaction to that was, we should get notifications from murderers moving in. Anyways, but like that, I think that as the sensationalism went on, and they kind of separated those things. First, it was psychopaths were like, it's still, I would say, a sensationalized issue. And I feel like just somebody, what I would guarantee happens is that I'm trying to think of a way to put this. It's so, I feel like that was the origin of it. And eventually somebody drew the parallel to narcissism. They saw an increase of narcissistic traits using the MPI, which the MPI is not used to measure pathological narcissism, by the way. And so they were able to make kind of this whole thing about it, being like, oh my God, narcissism is on the rise, and it's just like psychopaths, and it just kind of took on a kind of life of its own after that. That's kind of how I see it going down. I need to do more research on it, though. I think it'd make a really good video if I can do more research on it. What do you think of the autoimmune connection with trauma? I had no idea about it till this year. I know very little about it. I would need to look more into it, if I'm being honest. I know that it exists. That's kind of the extent that I know about it.
You're so smart at explaining
In clinical studies, why don't you become a psychologist? You obviously love helping people. So I've thought about, so I don't think I would make a good psychologist, if I'm being honest.
because I love educating.
Educating people, I would say. I love like sharing the information that I've learned over the years. I would say that's a genuine passion of mine. And I would say helping people is a side effect in which I have experienced some emotions that I can connect to, kind of, but it's really weird. I don't talk about it too much just because I'm like, nah, I don't know what those emotions are. It's a whole thing. But I feel like I wouldn't make a good psychologist because I feel like I would not be able to get emotionally invested in my patients the way that I should. I think I make a great researcher, hands down. But I would much prefer to educate people who would actually treat NPD patients rather than treat NPD patients myself.
You because you would disconnect and don't take it
Personally, and say things for people to think it's better for worse. I mean, you have a point. Like that's a. Let me put it this way. I guess I could become a psychologist if we could develop a treatment modality for narcissistic therapists, I suppose.
What's your emotional experience like?
Like day to day, like super intense all the time, constantly anxious, and every little thing is fucking the end of the world.
Sometimes being emotionally
Disconnected is better, more unbiased treatment. I agree. I definitely agree. But with modern modalities of treatment, I don't think that would work.
You be the Gordon
Ramsay a therapist. That's fucking hilarious. Honestly. I saw this clip from Family Guy that like kind of sums up how I would be as a therapist. It would be terrible. Like I think he was like on a suicide hotline or something, like talking to some guy, and he's like, my wife cheated on me. I think I have to kill myself. And Peter was like, wouldn't it make more sense to kill her? And that basically sums up how I would treat people.
So you remind me of Rob Downey
Jr. I've gotten that more than you would think, actually. After watching your videos, you have a lot of acting ability just from being so not researcher, actor. It was actually proposed to me from, it was actually somebody, like a woman who was a casting director, actually told me that I should try to get into acting. And I was like, because apparently my features are what they kind of look for in actors and shit like that. And I just kind of have the personality for it. And I have heavily considered it. But now there's a whole actor strike going on, and I don't want anything to do with that, so I'm just going to wait it out. Do you consider the effort you've been doing a positive contribution to the world? I would hope so. Annie? I would hope so. I think it is. Is there someone you look up to celebrity-wise? No, I don't look up to celebrities, actually. So it's very condescending of me, but I actually look down on celebrities. I'm just that pretentious. I'm just kind of like, all they do is act for a living. Ugh. Great. Now I'm curious. I need to see who Ian Soldermerholder is now.
You have a good one.
Toxic Queen. Take care. Oh my God. Fucking the two people I'm always compared to. I swear to God. That's the guy that played the dude in the Vampire Diaries, isn't it? Because I've been compared to that dude way too much.
Would you date another narcissist?
Potentially, depending on like how self-aware they were and their temperaments. Because I've said this before, but basically I think narcissistic relationships take one of two routes. One, they compete with each other and are envious of each other. But two, they include each other in their grandiosity, right? So as long as they're bolstering each other's grandiosity, then it's awesome. And I would definitely date somebody if we could maintain that. But I'm not sure that we could.
Socially anxious queen.
Pretty sure he's a narcissist. Damn. I haven't seen enough. I watched a couple of clips of him just because people compared me to him, because that's just how I am. When I am being a narcissist, when you rely on other people to define you, someone compares you to a character and you're like, I need to see everything about them. I didn't pick up on much about him psychologically.
Do you think you could have a role as a
Core constellation, a case involving potential NPD and the other not? Honestly, no. Because, well, one, okay, so I'm pretty confident that, so I can't spot a narcissist just like by casually talking to them. Like, I project too much. If I had to sit down with somebody and like they basically allowed me to like get into their brain, 100% of the time I could spot a narcissist. But if there is a narcissist that's in a court hearing and they brought me in to be like, hey, is this guy a narcissist? I mean, if the narcissist isn't an idiot, they're going to know the things to say to not come off narcissistically. Like, maybe I could, like, I feel like there's a potential I could, like, kind of, like, ease them into it and stuff like that, gain their trust. But I would say, generally speaking, it would be kind of a worthless endeavor. Unless they didn't know that that's what they were being screened for. I've heard there's many women with autism who've been with someone with NPD. Is it possible they can both steer each other deeper into the relationship? So, I honestly think that people with autism and NPD can have more positive relationships than most people. That sounds crazy, I know. But, like, I would say, one, a big thing for me that I notice on my channel is that the people who are autistic are way more open to the things that I have to say. Don't know why. I don't know enough about autism to say why. But also, they aren't as reactive to emotional states, and they're very kind of blunt. I have one friend who is like, she has NPD and her husband is autistic, and like she'll be like ranting about some wild shit, and he is just kind of like do you need me? Do you want my advice, or do you need me to listen? Like, what do you need right now? And they have a pretty good dynamic when it comes to like her freaking out like that.
Can you spot an empath there?
I don't think I could spot an empath in general. It's just but again, we have to define what an empath is. What does that actually mean? Somebody with increased empathy. Maybe I could spot that. It's a whole thing. I have autism and called a narcissist many times. I don't understand that. I really don't. Like, the only similarity that the only things I could see that could be misconstrued in narcissism is alexithymia. But most people don't know narcissists have alexithymia. So, and then, you guys have your like special focus that you'll like rant about, and not have much concern with the other party in the conversation just because of lack of social acknowledgement of social cues, which may come off as domineering the conversation. So I guess I could see how someone would interpret it like that. And then I guess lack of empathy, but like you guys have emotional empathy. You guys just lack the like cognitive portions of it, to my knowledge. The big word, I assume you mean alexithymia. Alexithymia is the inability to know what you're feeling. Like, for example, I'll have an emotion and I won't know what it is.
Do you warn people or
Or let them try to figure it out? Oh, wait, almost never comment. I don't think you were aware of this. It's a very good quality for a person to have. Thank you. So it depends. When it comes to it depends how close I get with the person. If it's in a romantic relationship, I personally believe that that person has the right to know what they're getting into before they start dating me. So I will tell them before I become official with them. If it's just a friend, typically I'll like not really mention it unless we get like really close. Or I think it's a timing that would be funny. I think masking also plays into it. For folks who are high masking, it heavily mirrors that itself, at least in my experience. See, okay, I always bring a distinction between masking and narcissism and autism. Because I feel like for people with autism, they're masking their symptoms, while people with NPD are like masking who they, like everything about themselves and like who they are as people.
I would also say,
Yeah, okay, I would say the rage episodes in autism and narcissism can be parallel sometimes, actually. Yeah, I agree with that. We'll talk about an NPD/personality disorders most fascinated by, going off what we said in the beginning of the stream. Okay, so most things. So obviously my main focus is I like to understand how people think, and I enjoy learning about personality disorders. I also love history. If you can't tell by the Austro-Hungarian map above me, I love the sciences. I love coding. I taught myself how to build a CPU from scratch at one point. I fucking forgot how to at this point, but like at one point I knew how, which was awesome. Logic gates and all that shit. Biology, microbiology, I really enjoy. Classic literature, I've always had a fascination with. Philosophy, a very wide range of, even geopolitics. I avoid geopolitics nowadays because of my history, but I still do enjoy thinking about it and understanding the implications of it. 90% of topics I have some degree of interest in.
Abigail, yeah,
That does make honestly, Abigail. I was like kind of as I was like monologuing about that. That's kind of what I thought about. Is I was like, okay, a lot of people who are autistic identify with their symptoms, which maybe it's not fair to call them symptoms, right? But it is to some degree hiding who they are as people. But I would say that, like, how do I put it? I would say it's. I hope you understand the kind of like distinction I'm making. Because also, hello, Samantha.
But yeah, like
let me think about it a little bit more before I elaborate on that, because I have a thought about it, but I'm having a hard time articulating. So what do you think of Trump? Is he a narcissist? So what are your opinions on Napoleon? That's also hilarious. Oh fuck, is ADHD? Okay, I gotta get some good questions. Okay, so first of all, Trump. Let me put it this way. I think Trump can present, at least, very narcissistically. I can say that with confidence. Is he a narcissist, though? Well, define narcissist. Are we talking about narcissistic personality disorder? Because I do not think he has NPD. Mainly because to have NPD, you have to have impairments in your functioning due to your personality disorder, right? I don't see his personality functioning interfering with his life. Like, he's a billionaire. He's got a boat with a yacht on it. And like, I messed that up, whatever. Anyways, but basically, like, I don't see much evidence that his personality itself is the thing messing up his life. And some people may say, well, since his presidency, he's been downhill. And it's like, yes, since his presidency, this has to be since adolescence. And some people have argued that, well, he has a lot of enabling people around him his entire life. He has a lot of people around him his entire life enabling him, which I think is a fair point, honestly. So it may hide some of the dysfunction, right? But I still, basically, my answer is I don't think so. It's a possibility. But I don't have enough. Like, if I could fucking, like, spy on Trump for, like, 6 months, I could figure out if he's a narcissist or not. There's no way of knowing just from what we can observe through the public eye. Curious, I also have ADHD, so maybe that's part of it. My opinion on Napoleon. So Napoleon is fascinating to me because, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what opinions about Napoleon you're asking for, but I think Napoleon is an interesting individual because he is part of this group of people who were brilliant military strategists, and in France at least, he gave a lot of good. He made a lot of good policies for the local populace and stuff like that. But I feel like there's idealizing him through respecting his genius, I think is very fair. But like, I could never imagine wanting a Napoleon as president, if that makes sense. Like, I would never because at the end of the day, he did just send people to die to conquer shit, which in some cases was necessary because of wars being declared on France. But it is what it is. But like, I think we can respect the person and his genius without commemorating the actions that he took, if that makes sense. Even if objectively they were impressive. Anyways, ADHD is common in cluster B. I think it's because like people with cluster B disorders have sensation-seeking symptoms, and that overlaps with ADHD a lot. I'm not exactly sure why. ADHD is just from trauma. I disagree. Oh, god damn it. I think Trump is way more egomaniacal than narcissistic. I think you hit the nail on the head there, right? I think that's a really good distinction. Because if I can't know for sure, not knowing like the details of his personal life, but I would say if I had to, that would kind of be the conclusion that I came to. I remember when me and Mark Edenson were doing a live stream, somebody talked about Trump being a narcissist, and me and Mark were like, let's not make this political, like we shouldn't use narcissism to like disparage somebody. But like while we were like in the middle of saying it, the person was like, he was a great president and his narcissism ruined him. And I was like, huh, I did not expect that. Me and Mark were both kind of beside ourselves, being like, wow, that was not the kind of response I expected. I expected people using narcissism to disparage Trump, but they were saying that he was great and that his narcissism brought him down. And I was like, huh, that's a nuanced opinion that I didn't expect. I thought it was interesting. I'm not making any political statements about, I am not giving any, if I make a political statement, I'll make that clear, by the way. Me saying whether or not Trump is a narcissist has no bearing on what I think of him as a person or a political figure. I'm just speaking to the question itself. I'll make it clear if I'm stating a political opinion.
We say your broad
spectrum of interest is influenced by your narcissism. I would say there is a pressure to be like a jack of all trades, so to speak. It's like I have to be good at everything.
Is Joe Biden on the
NPD spectrum? I honestly don't follow politics very strongly, very closely anymore. I just, because of my history with like far-right extremism, I choose to separate myself. So I have no idea. I don't even know if he's narcissistic or egomaniacal or whatever.
What do you think about the death penalty?
Eye for an eye. I don't view justice through the lens of. I don't view the justice system through the lens of like. Because I feel like people are always like, okay, should it be punishment or should it be rehabilitation? And keep in mind, I worked in the prison system, so like I have a little bit of a closer view on it. I will say to people who disagree with. I can't listen. Okay, so there are some. So my mindset on it is the purpose of the justice system should be to prevent further crimes from happening, right? If the most efficient way is to, if it is possible to rehabilitate somebody, that should be the solution. If the only option is executing them, that should be the solution. That being said, people will like, but there are some people, and I think there's some people who have done such heinous things that there is just no way I could ever justify the idea of not executing them, if I'm being honest. Like, trust me, I worked at the ODRC, yes. And if I don't want to, like, I literally am afraid to say what this person did on live because I think this live will get shut down if I do. Like, I'm trying to think like a way to say it that is like, I'm trying to think of a way to say it that like would be like vague enough that I can communicate what happened. Let me put it this way. Okay. When I say to people who don't agree with the death penalty, think of a man who, because this is somebody that was on the ODRC's death row, a man who has a baby who is 6 months old. 6 months. Now, think about the worst thing you could do to that child.
How do I make that more clear?
And it's not murder, by the way. 6 months. Like, holy shit. Their organs were messed up from the penetration, as I put it. I don't think I think I didn't get a follow-up on it, but like, it was questionable whether it would ever be able to walk again.
So
when people say that they don't support the death penalty, I can only think of that, and I don't care if it's honestly I don't care if that's irrational to say that like that I'm being ruled by emotions in that way. I cannot think about somebody like that. And so I laughed. Wow, bad time to laugh. I thought about what my friend did in the prison to somebody that did a similar action, and I just laughed at it. But yeah, like I cannot think of somebody. I just can't. I just can't. Hello, Silent and Jessica. What's going on? Goodbye, Teresa. I assume you're already gone. I got diagnosed because I was trying to impress a girl, basically. I went to therapy just saying, like, look how healthy I am. CC, yeah, they can admit their shame and talk about it in a convo. I almost guarantee that they'll avoid you for a little bit afterwards, though. And it is rare. It is. I gotta pee really bad. Emma, thank you so much. I just got back. Into the wood. I didn't even see you. I'm sorry. I didn't see that you just. I didn't mean to skip you. My bad. I know you were here.
Hello, Super Anxiety.
How's it going?
Did you hate being a CEO?
Honestly, I didn't hate it when I was doing it. Oh, there was times when I did, obviously. When I was a corrections officer, like it was always like, honestly, the weekends were the worst. When I wasn't, well, not the weekends because I didn't have the weekends off, but like I couldn't, like, the anticipation of going back is what messed me up. I hated that. But once I was like getting into the work week, then I was fine.
Thank you, Evie. How would you decide who
Is and isn't able to be rehabilitated?
probably the
Repeat offenses, I feel like, would be a strong indicator. I don't know enough about it I feel like it wouldn't be me who could make that decision. I feel like there would have to be some research that goes into it. How's it going, systemic? Or just Henry? I don't know how to. Whatever, you know what I mean. I hope you're doing well.
what helps with building trust?
/ being validated as a narcissist, fully understanding that disorder makes it infinitely harder to trust. Good question. Honestly, I feel like it's more on them than it is you to a large degree, and their willingness to be able to do that. But I would say if I was friends with a narcissist, to be able,
It would be to fuck. Okay,
I have a video about like, I have a video called like how to deal with a narcissist or something like that. But I did an interview with one of my good friends who's known me for a long time on basically how to deal with me. I recommend watching that because I think that I could sum it up better there than I do here.
So ever happened to use
Like paranoia, cloudy judgment so bad you question friends you've known for years? Hell yeah. I would say that that's not even an uncommon occurrence. I would say that happens all the time. Anything bad happens or any indication of disloyalty, and I'm immediately assuming the worst.
And in regards to
Empaths. So I don't like the term empath. However, there are people that exist that have higher effective empathy than other people. Like those kind of people do exist. But I would say that the communities that make up like empath communities and stuff like that, there's a good portion of them that I do not think are actually empaths.
do you think someone with MBD can read
Through a BPD masking while splitting on them.
I think that appears
So MPD would be too self-absorbed to even consider it. If I'm being maybe depends. It depends if you're. No, I guess not. Like I guess it depends how good of a masker you are and what you're saying. We do pick up on shit like very easily, but like literally we're like I think the DSM-3, DSM-5 alternative criteria puts it really well that we have deficits in empathy unless it has to do with us. Then we have a hyper attunement to the person. Like if we sense that it has to do with us, we will be like on it.
so Layla.
There's a couple of birthdays on there. This calendar is actually over a year old. It's like a year and a half old. Like this calendar is from like 2022 or 2021.
I have no idea what the
Meghan Merkel thing is. I'm gonna look it up. I'm curious now.
Man, there's way more news
Articles on her than I thought. I got bored. I'm not looking into it anymore. What would having all the MPD traits except active empathy be? Hard to say. I mean, just somebody with MPD who is empathic. I'm not sure.
Empath is not a
diagnostic term. No, it's not. The only family members that I have. Well, I suspect that my grandpa had MPD, but he's dead and never met him as an adult, so I can't say for certain.
I do dream often. I dream very often.
I dream probably every night, and they're always terrible. Always. And in fairness, I do know people who have been not diagnosed, but have used the term empath, like some have used the term empath to describe their clients that they were talking to. Not diagnostic criteria. It's or a diagnostic category. But I don't know. Like I don't fucking know. I don't treat people. It's weird. Lucid dreams. No, interestingly enough, when I do lucid dream, I still can't control what's going on around me, which I think is something subconscious, if I'm being honest. But yeah, like even if I'm aware that I'm dreaming, I can't control what's going on, or if I can, it's very shoddy. Would you ever consider going back to the person who's exposed you and got mad at your family for taking your side if you were the one to blame? Probably not. Slander, and like not to say that the slander was like unjust. I'm just saying that like what I would have perceived as slander is probably one of the more unforgivable things. It largely depends on what you said following.
Why do I have pleasant dreams?
If I have terrible MBD moments, I mean, not all of my dreams are horrid. Most of them are, though. Most of them are. Honestly, that may be my PTSD, if I'm being real.
I have not heard of that.
That, Brian. I can't even pronounce those words. Not surprising. I cannot pronounce much.
I remember once I had a dream.
Oh fuck, my dreams are so fucked up. God. Like, there's so many of them like running through my head right now. Like, the earliest dream I remember having is being in a house, and the house was on fire. But like, I was a child at this point. Like, I was like young, very very young. But like, I was wearing very heavy clothing and a heavy backpack, so I couldn't move. That's a common thing in my dreams. That's interesting. But like, I couldn't like stand up, and so like the dream basically progressed as me struggling to move, while the fire crept closer and closer to me until it burnt me alive.
If I was an empath,
Man, it was BPD. Oh my gosh. Empath to cluster B pipeline. That's hilarious. Hypodermic jerk is when you wake up with the feeling that you're falling. Oh yeah, I get that all the time. Yeah. That's interesting. I know there's a term for it. Does your therapist ever interpret your dreams with you? No. It's when you aren't asleep, but yet aware.
I know what you're talking about.
I definitely do get that. So do you have relationships where are people code words and phrases have different meaning than what they would perceive to the outside? Like in text messages? Because, kind of, yeah.
Depends. Like, only
Only like if I'm like pissed, and then I'm afraid that like they're going to send screenshots of people.
any chance of a good
Outcome if you remain friends with Nart in order to try and be a good influence. It hurts only that leaving will further add to their existing abandonment issues. I mean, you can. You just, I mean, how? Okay. I'm not comfortable speaking for malignant narcissists, if I'm being honest. But, like, I would say that, like, yeah, but you would have to be very careful not to trigger any sort of, like, loyalty issues or pay the price. Because, I mean, for me, it's like, I expect that unyielding loyalty, and then when that doesn't occur, because it's entitlement, I can do bad things.
It's not silly grass.
No, it's just a nicotine vape. And like, I am the only person in the world. I'm going to rephrase that actually, because that was like a very sweeping statement. I am the of the people I know personally, I'm the only person who smoked cigarettes first and then moved over to a vape. And so I am the only one, in my opinion, who has a free pass to smoke vapes. All those other guys, they just want to be edgy and smoke vapes like losers. I smoke cigarettes like a cool guy. Like literally, like I swear to God, everybody I know nowadays smokes a vape, and I'm like, you guys didn't smoke cigarettes. What are you thinking? Why? Why'd you do that? I've quit a couple times too, like for months at a time.
Cigarettes are criminal prices.
These days, go to fucking Serbia. They're like $3 a pack there. It's crazy. Or at least when I was, in the army a couple years back, like 2019. The only reoccurring dream that I have is that I'm in my mom's house and a bunch of people are trying to break in, and like I'm locking all like the windows and doors. I'm like running around frantically. I lock the last one. I'm like, I'm safe. Finally. And then I remember my sister's window is still open. So I run over there, and I'm like alone in the house. And so I run over there, I lock the window. I'm like, okay, now I'm safe. And I turn around, and a guy comes out of the closet and tries to attack me. We get into a fight, and I usually kill him. That is my recurring dream. Horrifying.
You're fun to be part of the audience. Oh,
I'm glad, Jessica. Hello, Mary R.
Do it, given temptation.
Wait, what am I doing? I'm not smoking weed, if that's what you're asking. Lower Nick. So, did they actually have lower nicotine into concentration? Because that's interesting. I remember being in Serbia buying the cigarettes. Like some of them, they just had like holes in the filter, and I'm like, why do we have a filter? Like, why even have a filter if there's just gonna be a hole in it? That's bizarre.
Watching Buffy. Oh.
Probably not. I don't watch TV shows very often. I've been watching a lot of House, though. Have you ever had psychic dreams? Trust me, we are all very lucky. My dreams are not psychic.
Hello, Mahmood.
What's happening, my dude?
Which country did you move to?
Country, that's interesting. See, like my immediate thoughts go to, okay, who do I know in what countries? It's somewhere in Europe, obviously.
Either Germany,
The Netherlands, or England. Probably England, just because I already speak the language. MBD April, how are you doing?
well,
Welcome, MBD April. This live stream has been insane and all over the place. I don't remember if I took my meds today. What's your favorite season of House? So far, I think season 3 or 4. I don't remember which exactly. Like right before like he fires Chase and Foreman quits, or wait, doesn't fucking and Cameron quits too. I don't remember exactly. Like right before that.
come to Scotland.
Layla, I told you I will say hi if I'm ever in Scotland.
Your mom's literally.
Okay, so it's okay. Listen, so when I don't take my meds, it's because I have ADHD. Okay, I forget. It's a mess. And like I'll literally spend like minutes just like sitting here being like, I think I just took my medication, but did I? I'm not sure.
House gets weird towards the end.
I hate when they have romantic plots between the bosses and the employees, because that's weird and like not okay. I'm not, I love it. I'm like watching House being like, I relate to this man. I understand him.
Get a P.O. box.
One day I will. I don't even know how much a P.O. box costs. I don't know how to get a P.O. box. I've never had to go about that. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, like
The I'll speak specifically the romantic plots in the House. None of them are particularly okay. Honestly, weirdly enough, I think the most intriguing romantic plots in House were with Wilson.
Christine, that's fucking genius. Oh my gosh.
Christine, if I remember to do that, that's an awesome idea.
Romantic plots always feel unnecessary to me.
Maybe that's the ace in me. I feel like they can have so I feel like romantic plots cannot exist on their own, so to speak. Like, how do I put it? Like you cannot have a good movie purely based off of, or TV series purely based off of the that plot alone. You have to have that bolstering a greater story, or being able to watch the interactions between that romantic interaction going on, or something relevant to the main narrative. And I feel like a lot of shows don't do that well. And so the side effect of memory loss, that ball. When I said the side effect of memory loss, it's the irony in that is hilarious. Oh my gosh. That's a terrible medication. What was the medication?
It's not an excuse to have a ton of sugar.
Really irritated. Exactly. Well, because that's why I liked again, like I mentioned Wilson and House, and when Wilson was with Amber, there was like a power dynamic struggle between House and Amber. And I thought how Wilson reacted to that power dynamic between them was really interesting, which is why I liked it.
Forget prostate cancer, there's just...
Wait, so... That's interesting. A testosterone blocker is used as... That's interesting. Huh. Well, I don't know if you know this, but my roommate's trans. Well, one of my roommates. The one that I don't complain about. So she's talking to me about, like, some of her medications and stuff, and I'm like, huh. The like, uses for these are interesting.
Best romantic movie,
The Crow. Never seen it. Best romantic movie, Scarface. Based. Never seen Scarface either, actually. If you guys like start listing off classic movies, you'll start yelling at me because I've never seen any of them. I've seen a billion of cult classics from the 70s because of my dad. But not actual classics.
Hello, Nightmare. Never seen Ferris Bueller.
Nope.
Alright.
Sandra, it is bold of you to assume that I have a stable eating schedule. Trust me, I am unhinged when it comes to how I eat. I don't eat for like a day and then just gorge myself because I am unhealthy like that.
Cable Guy?
Is that a movie? Old Boy? I haven't even heard of those.
That you feel that
NTs get wrong. Honestly, the biggest thing that I try to express to people that I think is the most important, if there's no other message you get from my shit, is that we aren't intentionally malicious most of the time. We might be vindictive sometimes, but it's not we don't enjoy just hurting people for the sake of hurting people.
Moon? Is Moon a movie? Oh, Soylent Green.
No, I haven't seen that actually. Maybe it wasn't from the 70s. I don't know. My dad showed me just a bunch of cult classics. Like very obscure movies. It was interesting. I'm trying to think what my favorite movie is now. I don't even know if I have a favorite movie. Like I remember, like was talking to my friend who they're like a huge movie buff. I was talking to them being like, huh, I realized I only have opinions on movies that are meant to impress people. And they're like, you're just now realizing this? And I'm like, well, fuck you too.
Sure, what about the hierarchy rules? What do you think about
Ben Taylor's MVD channel, Software MVD also. I have a lot of respect for the guy. I've like talked to him personally a few times. I think he helps a lot of people. I wouldn't. If you're trying to learn about narcissism proper, I probably wouldn't recommend him. Maybe if you're in like a relationship with a narcissist that's overtly abusive, I would recommend him. But like just like about like but like if you're like trying to learn how they think, he doesn't like offer much in terms of that, or like the science and like the research and stuff. But like I have a lot of respect for him though. He does some good work.
Do you have a favorite movie that you hate or can't stand? A favorite movie that I hate
Or can't stand. I feel like that's kind of contradictory a little bit.
Narcissism.
Narcissism is a buzzword topic. Do you think this furthers the stigma or opens or builds bridges? I think it furthers it because I feel like there's a lot of people that take advantage of um, there's a lot of people that take advantage of the sensationalism around it, and people aren't acting honestly when they talk about some of the qualities of narcissism.
Well, that one that
Can change that one that can change a narcissist.
well,
Immediately thought of the specific person who was aware they were helping more than others but ever could. Yet, but they basically hurt me in like the most effective ways. Eventually, for being very emotionally, after being very mentally stable, can they usually hurt people this bad? It still pains me.
um,
Like, how do you? I'm trying to piece together what you mean. That one.
so wait, are you a narcissist?
Or is the other person the narcissist? Any ideas on other words for the label? I mean, if you went down the like emotionally unstable personality disorder like terminology that they use for BPD, I'd say like, I would say something like unstable self-esteem, like self-esteem dysregulation disorder or something like that. But but like I don't know, narcissist sounds cool. I want a cooler phrase. Whereas life's falling apart and we generally don't feel bad about it, feel like he deserves some amount of collapse in his life. Fair enough, honestly. Like, there's a degree of which there is a satisfaction in watching somebody who's hurt you so bad be also hurt. I mean, hell, like I felt similarly towards my sister before, so I understand that makes sense. Also, okay, oh me, so I can't get down to. Okay, so
Okay, so
basically what I'm reading is you had a little bit of an episode, Deadly Deep.
Okay, got it. I
Also, super anxiety chick. I'm going to answer that, but hold up. So yeah, basically, I don't have a good answer for you. The deadly disease, unfortunately, because I mean, for me, I have a confirmation bias towards people hurting me all the time. It's hard for me to decipher whether or not somebody is hurting me, like intentionally or not, or I'm just being like an asshole. Um, the thing is that like people don't operate the way that we do, and they are going to do things that we don't really understand a lot of times, and it's going to seem cruel. And a lot of times they won't understand that us hurting them is a mental health episode for us. Like, you know, like we get fly into a rage about like something stupid, but like, you know, we can't, like, you know what I mean, I think. Um, but there are people out there who are going to be able to, I hate to use the word handle, but like, I guess handle you in a way that's more constructive, that will lead to you guys not only being reconciled, but you learning something from it. I would advise that maybe that person just isn't the kind of person that's built to be able to handle that degree of emotional dysregulation. And that's important to understand, especially at this point. But there are people out there who can and who will help you throughout your recovery journey. It's an unfortunate thing to go through because, I mean, I lost like a lot of my friends due to that kind of shit. I've lost so many over the years of thinking like we had reconciled and then they just, whatever. But yeah, there's still, if they can't handle who you are, there's not much changing that, and it's not everybody, I guess.
Oh well. Oh, okay, I know.
Okay, would you rather have a combo with Granin, Romney, or Vagnin, or all of the above? And what would you ask slash say? So, Granin, I don't trust him. Vagnin, his grandiosity would rule him too much, and I wouldn't even be like I don't feel like I could have a real conversation with him. Romney feels like the most sane one of the bunch, so I'd probably choose Romney. And if I did, I would go into it very cordially. I'm actually planning this out. I go into it very cordially, but I would also ask very pointed questions regarding the suicide rate in NPD, the personal suffering, ask about the remission rate. If I was feeling ballsy, I'd question her credentials and kind of be like, well, you know, you don't really have any papers about personality disorders, do you? Do you? I wouldn't do that, probably. But I try to keep that one as cordial as possible, but I would also try to very much point out that this is a mental disorder and that her content is very detrimental to it being viewed as such. That her content leads to it being viewed through the lens of abuse, through the lens of harm, and basically demonizing us. I won't say outright though. I would just ask questions that kind of implied it. I'd also bring a folder of all of my studies, honestly. Like I'd have them fucking laminated because I wouldn't want to be there, and then she'd be like, "That's not true," and then like me not be able to support it. I'd just be like, just pull out paper, like, "Here we go." What do you think the reason behind that is? Is there spiritual idealization and MPD? Also, I think it's like around the grandiosity, right? It's like you're the best person ever, right? You're amazing. Like we're the best relationship. We're the best people ever. It's just including other people in my grandiosity, in my experience. Okay, I'm about to fucking go to bed. Not go to bed, but like head off because I am tired. I guess somebody who is becoming aware thinks therapy is a scam, but backed by research to understand therapy can help people testing it happen to them. To me, if they said that by research, my response would be to provide research to counteract that, or maybe provide. Well, okay, if I brought that up, if I brought up therapy to somebody, they said, "Oh, that's not true. That backed by research." I'd say, "What treatment modality?" And I guarantee they would not have an answer. And then I would probably bring up research showing the prognosis of various. I'd show the various treatment modalities. I would I would recommend if somebody was self-aware of being a narcissist, I'd recommend a more esoteric treatment modality. For example, mentalization-based treatment, great for NPD. I would basically be like, I'd be like, well, yeah, like therapy is kind of like a scam usually, but like, haven't you heard of mentalization-based treatment? Like, only like it's very specialized, and like not many people do it because they don't know about the research behind it. But like, it's like really effective for treatment. Or if you could, especially if you could find some research backing that up. I haven't. I don't think I have the research on hand or anything. Though.
Being the better man than Romney.
Henry, I wouldn't call it being the better man. I would call it being kind of underhanded and being the lesser man. Does that make sense? I have a lot of limitations seeing people. Well, wait. Oh, to seeing people get hurt. Oh yeah, I don't give a shit.
Oh,
For co-parenting with a narc. 1 second. Disarming the Narcissist by Wendy T. Berry. Wendy, fucking sponsor me or something. I recommend her book all the time. But Disarming the Narcissist by Wendy T. Berry. Amazing book. She specifically wrote it for people that were still in relationships with narcissists, whether it be familial or co-parenting or like just you're in a relationship with them and you want to make it work, etc., etc. It's a great book. Your take, please. Are experts on the NPD spectrum? I would say it's like the other. Well, I mean, some are, some are. I don't think they're strongly related. I mean, a lot of narcissists are more extroverted, but like, I don't think they're particularly related from what I've read. Have you ever frequently thought obsessed about X and Y? Yes, because they rejected me. If you break up with me, I will obsess over you. My entire like being will be kind of dedicated to thinking about you for a while. Like, what about when domestic violence is involved? Not related to disarming the narcissist. I think a distinction needs to be made between full-on abuse and just being in a relationship in some way or another with a narcissist. Because I'm saying, no matter what, if domestic violence is a thing, or coercive control, or like various other forms of abuse, just leave, get out. Not the same. Don't even think about narcissism until you are out of a relationship like that. But anyways, systemic mentalization-based treatment is so basically. I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it. It's like I love it. Like for personality disorders, it's awesome because basically it's like, let's say I say, well, I have a friend and he did this to me for this reason, and they ask, well, why do you think he did that? And then, or why do you believe that? Whatever. Basically, it's basically constant questioning of why you hold these intrinsic beliefs that you have, and then subtly challenging them, right? And then and it can give you a better. And I have an interview with Anthony Bateman in regards to NPD and mentalization-based treatment. We didn't do much treatment, but whatever. Well, me and him did mock therapy sessions that are being used at Harvard, but. Really fucking awesome. Also, goodbye, Brian. Really awesome treatment. If you remind me, I did a group mentalization treatment on Borderliner Notes, so that I can once Rebby finally posts that, I can send that so you can get an idea of like what it actually looks like. Because I'm doing a really bad job of describing it.
How do you see somebody get
say torture, not feeling any nausea or anxiety? Give you a little more information about that. I mean, I'm just kind of like, I just don't. I don't know. I see somebody get hurt. I'm just kind of like when I think it's gross, I'd be like, ugh, God, I don't want to look at that. but I just don't feel anything. I guess I don't. Like I can cringe. That's what I do. I cringe. I definitely cringe. Like let's say I see somebody, like I don't know, if I saw somebody. Well, sometimes depending. If it's like very specific. Hello, Visceral, by the way. If it's like I don't know, like I can cringe about it. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I guess. Anyways, okay. But all right, I'm fucking done. I gotta go. I'll catch you all later. You'll have a. Thank you, Judy. The last minute, but okay. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good day. I'm out.